I'm really thrilled at the moment to be now sharing the stage with the three community researchers who really made this work happen, made it come alive out of the page and into people's real lives. And let me just introduce you to our three stars. Now, we've met Peta. You can add something more to yours, but we almost know it all, don't we? And but I'd just like to introduce you to Francesca Lee, otherwise known as Fran. Fran wrote this. Fran acquired her brain injury almost 10 years ago. Fran is the current president for Brain Injury Matters and has been involved with BIM for 5 years, since 2014. Fran says before BIM, or did you say BIM? BIM, yeah, BIM. Before BIM, I didn't come out of my house because of my disability. Everything was and felt so difficult. Since being introduced to BIM, I have regained my confidence, learnt new skills, and met so many wonderful people. Fran says she's now an active member of the Voice at the Table project, and this is how she found out about the community researcher role at the DSC. Self-advocacy has changed Fran's life. Put it together for Fran. Yeah. I'd now like to introduce you to William Ward Boas, who we call Will. Will is good, isn't it? Yeah. Will is 19 years old. I thought you said you were 20.
I'm 19.
Oh, are you? Oh, sorry. Will is 19 years old and was introduced to the DSC through Valid. Since being diagnosed on the spectrum at the age of 2, some people, but not his family, thought he wouldn't amount to much. To prove them all wrong, Will has achieved many things. In 2018 to this year alone, he completed his VCAL certificate, got his driver's licence, was accepted into the Youth Disability Advocacy Service inaugural Youth Leadership Program, is continuing with his studies, and is looking forward to undertaking further advocacy work in the future. He credits much of his success to having patient and loving parents who never gave up on him and believed he could achieve whatever he set his mind to. And Will does say he knows not everyone is as lucky as he is to have such a supportive family. Hands together for Will. Yeah. Now, we've heard a bit about how you found out about the project, but why did you want to be involved? Let's start with you, Will, if you want to leap in there.
I joined in because, first of all, when I was working with Valid, they told me that a position with the DSC actually came up and they're looking for people with disability to actually join in and give a point of view on a really important matter like safe and respectful cultures in a workplace. So apparently I was first on their list to be suggested, so I actually came in as soon as I heard because it sounded like such a great opportunity. And I came in, I met these lovely people in the DSC group, and these lovely two women on the stage here have been they're now friends of mine, and they're great people to work with as well.
Can you all talk a bit about what the community researchers did? Tell us a bit about what the job was.
Well, we could identify more with the target audience, and they were more relaxed with us than they would have been to a suit. And I really think it was very smart of the DSC to accept us as community researchers.
Now, I understand of the three of you, none of you actually has a background in research. So you had to have a bit of a steep learning curve. Can you tell us a bit about the sort of things you picked up about what a researcher should do, what that was?
Well, When we started coming into this project, Sally Robinson we'd refer to her as the person in the, I think it was like the person in the box, because she'd always pop up on the screen and she'd never be there in person. We'd only seen her once or twice, actually. And,
sort of this big.
Yeah. But once we got to meet her in person, she was lovely, but she was basically... so she was our mentor through this whole thing. She gave us all of the tips and tricks to being able to be a warm, friendly and effective interviewer. And I don't think this would have gone as well as it did without her.
Yeah, because it's hard to make that sort of crossover from being really implicated in the system to then being able to ask questions about it of others. You know, like to actually kind of be still warm and friendly and connected, but get the information that you want. Must have been quite a process. What do you think it was like for people to have you lead this interview process, Fran? How would you respond to that?
I think that people were so much more relaxed. And for instance, in one of our interviews, just because I could empathise with what they were going through, and we ended up speaking for 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I really connected with the participants, parents and the staff members. And I think having a person with a disability myself and interviewing another one with the disability just went so well. It flowed really well.
And take note, employers. We're great at this job. I'd just like to ask now, you did 2 series of interviews, one series of interviews, and then you came back later and did interviews. Did you see differences between those 2 stages?
I think so. I think at the first one, to tell you the truth, I was quite nervous.
I bet.
I thought it would be a dodgy, dark, awful place. But it wasn't, and it's kind of like we were familiar with the clients and the staff and the parents, so the second time I felt like it was more of a friendship, and people were much more open and willing to talk about really deep stuff. Yeah.
Was there anything that you found surprising in what came out of the interviews?
For me in particular, it was how important people with disability found how their view was to the staff. They'd feel like that, from what I've done in this project, I learned that sometimes people would get nervous about speaking up because they feel like that because they are a participant, they're not able to speak up because they're not as valued as staff are, because they are like they'd get a misunderstanding in the hierarchy, sort of, because they are just as important as the staff are. But yeah, I felt like the importance of how respect and how people get their feelings from picking out their best qualities in people. I felt like that was the best lesson I learned during the project.
Interesting. Fran, what about you?
I was really surprised with the music workshop. I've been to them before and not so good. But the one that we had was really, it was just a participant didn't talk at all. And when the music workshop was on, we wrote a song all together, and he just busted out with these opera voice. That was just like so nice to watch. And then we went to the Haverside conference, and we thought that no one would rock up, and we had a full house, and the music part, everyone enjoyed it and was so involved. So that was a nice surprise.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Because the music workshop, so you had the interview sort of process in the morning and then the music workshop after. And was that to kind of, I don't know, break down some of the communications between people and get people working together? Because music is really good for that, isn't it? You know, for getting everyone involved, working together.
And I think everyone writing lyrics together just made it like everyone fell a part of it.
And that was for the residents or, you know, people in a day program and the parents and the staff, like everyone did that. Yes. Were some people more comfortable with that process than others?
I think maybe with a lot of things everyone was nervous to start off with, but it just flowed so well, and I think Lisa made everyone so comfortable, and even like staffing was really rocked out. It was great.
And we'll be talking more about the music later, because I find this really, really innovative. It's quite rare in a research project to involve arts. And it's because I'm, you know, an artist myself. It's something I'd like to encourage, really, out there as one of our tools to get people working together. One question I'd like to ask is, what did you all learn about yourselves in that process? And something about yourself, but perhaps also about, you know, the sort of work you want to be involved in, or, you know, what did it open up for you all in terms of, you know, your own place in this?
I learned I'm very aggressive and entitled. Some for a people for a positive spin and say I'm being assertive, but I still enjoyed it, and having my voice heard was an incredible ego boost.
Don't you think, though, at least some of that has to do with the fact that these voices, we haven't heard from these people much, have we? I mean, I can really imagine you feeling really passionate about getting that material out there.
Yeah.
This is really like, you know, lifting a cover, you know, and showing what we maybe aren't even aware of unless we're a family member or part of this system. What about you, Will? What did you learn about yourself?
I never expected to work in disability, honestly. Like, before Valid and the DSC, I never thought I'd be in this industry because I grew up in a specialist school for autism.
So did I.
Yeah. And now I can't see myself anywhere else. It's like, I think disability is such an important and valued industry that people don't know much of, and it should be brought to the spotlight more often, because people with disability should have a bigger voice than they do, because they are a big portion of the community already.
Yeah, I think, yes. Will is touching on an important point here, because like I spent my first 8 or so years in special school, and it can leave you feeling that like disability is for all those people you just really want to leave behind there. And it can take a few years to kind of realise, oh, no, I'm implicated, and this is political, and this is where things are really happening. And it sort of took me quite a few years to work that out.
Yeah.
After screaming, running away from it as a young child.
Yeah.
You know, there's
I think the biggest problem in specialist schools, though, is like the misunderstanding in hierarchy between students and teachers are very, very mixed up. And I think people need to expand on that, and they need to explain that the students and teachers are both as important as each other, because the students don't understand that. They just think, oh, we're here because we have to, and that when we get out of here, hooray, it's going to be the best time of our lives. But yeah, it's a safe zone if they actually got to know.
There's another research topic if anyone's keen. Fran, what did you learn about yourself?
I think at the beginning, learning about the project, I thought it sounded way too complicated and very difficult. And, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But I think after a lot of training and practice and all that workshops, I felt ready and I really gained confidence. I think, it really, to even be here now doing this, it all seemed so difficult. So it was really a great learning experience to just realise that I can do this. And also that we are all like human and we all want to be cared for. Yeah.
Now, my understanding is that each of these three researchers was working in collaboration with three staff members from DSC. And the funny thing is, apparently none of those six people had ever worked in research before. So have people looked at the report? Because it's a remarkable piece of work and just goes to show me that storytelling is something at the heart of research. You know, there's questions to kind of establish the scene and you have a focus, so you know, and then bringing it together is the same sort of craft that you bring to, you know, telling a good story, you know, beginning, middle, end, finding out who are the players and all that, because it's a fantastic report. I love it. Now, I've got the question here of what did you teach others? Did that factor in? What about your staff members? What about your staff members with DSE? Because someone told me that they actually learnt a lot from working with you guys in collaboration. Did you sort of see that happen, that the collaboration was a really important part of it as well?
Hopefully they learnt a bit more about how to respond to people with disability. But yeah, I think that we gave quite a lot of ourselves, and it was really quite fruitful, the whole experience.
I think the best part about working with the staff members from the DSC is when we started out, we were complete strangers to each other, and we had to get to know each other, learn each other's personal flaws and like strengths, and not just personally but also like professionally as well, so that we could work together in sync during the interviews. And like after doing the interviews and doing all of the research and the practice, we learnt a lot about each other. The team learnt a lot about everybody, and it wouldn't work the same way if we did it differently, because it just went so well.
I really like the food shots. I mean, you'll see if you watch the videos that there's this really kind of comfortable-ish, family, intimate sort of environment that's set up with food, which I love. I just think that works really well. It sort of makes it less formal. Mariana's a really good cook. Anyway, no, let's all go to hers later. No, just Would you do this again?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yes. I mean, that's a really successful outcome. Now, as I think some of us have raised, you know, we have maybe some stereotypical views of the sort of people who require these services. Sort of people who are either in, day services or residential services. And I think maybe because we haven't seen a report like this before, we don't really know what happens. Can you talk a bit about what you learned or what struck you about the lives of these people using the services?
What struck me was it advances of I was a community visitor years ago, and the residents that back then were treated like absolute dirt, and
Wow.
it's come a long way since then.
Oh, it has, really?
Yeah, it has. There's still a long way to go, of course, and I think services in general, the services we visited were amenable to us coming, so of course they didn't have anything to hide, but perhaps other services are less friendly environment.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Will? What did you think?
It really sparked my interest that us with disability were included in an interview process, because I think it was it never came to my mind that it would be a good idea, because I never thought of it before. But when it actually happened and the process took place, it really made sense, because the people with disability that we were interviewing and also us could also relate to them, because we all are in the same community and we all have those struggles and those and we also strive in the same particular way, and we may struggle and we may also succeed with flying colours, but when it comes to talking to one another and relating to one another, that's the really important stuff, I think.
What about you, Fran?
I was nicely surprised. I thought, as I said, the place would be a dark, dingy, awful staff. I didn't know what to expect. But I thought the staff were great where I was. They really listened to the participants and the parents, and they tried to work together. And from seeing Sarah Barton's movie, it really showed me that we have come a long way. I don't want to say too much and give it too much glory, but where I was definitely a thriving place where everyone seemed really happy.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And the movie you're talking about, Defiant Lives,
Yeah.
have people seen Defiant Lives?
Yes.
I really recommend it. It's a documentary about, the disability activist struggle across the world, Australia, UK, America, other parts of the world, and a fabulous piece. What makes a good staff person?
Someone who listens.
Yeah.
Someone who can sympathise and empathise with you while you work and spend time with them, because if they do that, they can be on a personal and professional level with the staff member. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that relationships and trust. These words keep coming up in this process. What about you, Fran? Any tips for a staff person?
I think the good tip is that little things can be the big things.
Yes, with the
And if someone approaches a staff member with something that may seem trivial to them, it may be something so important to the participants. So please listen. Yeah.
Now, we're running a little bit behind time, but I can't resist asking these people, what's next for you individually? Can we start with you, Fran? What's next for you?
Well, I'm still with brain injury matters, but I would love to do research. I love research. Yeah.
Will, what are you up to?
Ever since I've done DSC work, I've been applying for advocacy groups. So I've actually going to see AMAZE, which is Autism Advocacy, and I hope to work with them.
Oh, fantastic. And Peter?
Well, I am open to any suggestions.
I'm the same. I'm with her. Great suggestions that involve money and excitement. Well, here's Peter. Okay, so we're going to break for morning tea now. And we are running a bit behind schedule, but I've been told you never cut morning tea.